Sean was probably the best son anyone could hope for. He's very motivated. He pushed people to be the best that they could be, no matter what it was, whether it was hockey, which was his passion, and later on it was firefighting.
Sean was a leader wherever he went, whether it was on his hockey teams or with his friends. He was a jokester and a trickster, and he was, you know, if we had a birthday party for one of the kids or anything like that, we never had to hire a clown because he was the entertainment, and he was always leading a group somewhere. Sometimes not down a very good path as a joke, but always just a leader all the time in every situation.
He was a fantastic brother to his older sister, and many of his friends were surprised that when they found out she was the older sister, they always thought Sean was the big brother. He took care of her. When she got cancer, he was all over with her diet and would call her up constantly, tell her what she needed to do, much to her chagrin at some times. But that's just the way he was. He cared about people, and I don't think I ever met anyone that didn't like him very much. He seemed to have this aura about him. Sean started to play hockey at 6 years old, and he had an early morning practice, the first practice, and he demanded that he sleep in his equipment. I drew the line at skates, but I let him, and he was up at 6 a.m. and off we went. He excelled in the sport. He was an amazing skater, and they even, when some scouts started to come around, they called him the skater. He went on to play the highest levels of hockey at his age group that he could. In fact, at one point in junior hockey, he was 15 years old, and I drove him 5 hours away so that he could stay with the billet family and play junior hockey. And in fact, that's where he met the love of his life, Melissa, at 16 and 15 years old. And many years later, they grew apart, and many years later they reunited and got married. And then, after junior, he was invited to play for the University of Western Ontario, the Mustangs, where he majored in criminology and minored in sociology. And the plan was to join the fire department and maybe work his way to forensic investigation.
Yeah, and then after that, he had moved a couple hours away from us, and he was approached about coaching with the Windsor Spitfires in the CHL. So he joined their staff, and he was there 5 years, and in the 5th year, they actually went on and won the Memorial Cup. So
it's the highest trophy in Canadian hockey.
Yeah, and we have this fantastic picture of Mark and Sean standing together with the cup. And,
one of the greatest moments of my life is holding that cup together with him. And when he passed, we had our service back in Canada. The Canadian Hockey League brought the Memorial Cup to his service. As I said, he reunited with Melissa, and she's a microbiologist, a PhD, just an amazing genius. And she was offered a fellowship with the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. As soon as Sean got there, he's like, now's my chance, I'm gonna join the fire department. And he went to Penn Overbrook, Station 21 in Wynwood, Pennsylvania, and he joined and made new friends, new family. The guys joked about how nothing was ever good enough. Sean needed it to be a little bit better. There's some improvement that needs to be made. And he made quite an impact in the 2 years he was there. Again, the trickster, He used to take pictures of guys and Photoshop them. There's still a picture on the fridge of, what was it, 2 Men and a Baby, where two of the older firefighters are holding him as the baby, and he put their faces in. Just stuff like that. But they also said that, he really pushed him to be the best he can be. He even started mentoring the younger firefighters, the juniors. He would make up practice tests so they could get their firefighter too. He was a firefighter too, and he also got his EMT, and he had all sorts of awards. He was a top student in the academy. He was top runner, which meant he went to every call. He missed 2 calls in 2 years, and it's because they were on vacation. The support from the Lower Merion, the entire Lower Merion Fire Department, and Penwind Station 21 was incredible. The service that they put on, in fact, the entire state of Pennsylvania, it was incredible, the service. They had 2 ladder trucks on the way to the funeral home, and there was an American flag hanging down from it. And the guys at the station wanted to find a Canadian flag to hang with it. They couldn't find one big enough. Someone had contacts with the owner of the Philadelphia Flyers, and he said, "Get down here right now, I'm having my people take our flag down." So they hung that flag beside the American flag, and we passed underneath it.
And this was 2021, so it was during COVID, and we're Canadian. So we had to get, they went to a lot of work to make sure we could get clearance just to come through the border. Because at that time, no one was, the borders were closed. And that took a lot of work, a lot of effort on their part. And because we were coming from so far away, they put us up and just made sure we were escorted around the city. We were in no frame of mind to be going anywhere and doing anything.
Yeah, they picked us up with 3 firefighting SUVs and lights on, sirens on, to wherever we wanted to go. It's the only way to travel in Philadelphia. But all the guys, I feel like we've made a bunch of friends, because the entire station, I should say guys and girls, were unbelievable and very supportive. In fact, the following year, on the anniversary of July 4th, they put on a service at the station. And again, it was incredible. And half the town from Wynwood was there. At the first service, I neglected to mention that when we got to the funeral home, there was lines of people around the block in hockey sweaters and sticks, and they tapped their sticks as we passed by. Incredible community. Oh, that smile and that laugh. Just being able to ask him any question, because he always had the answer. His help was, as I say, always incredible. One thing I want to add to show you what kind of person he was. They were set to move back to Canada on July 5th. And he had an opportunity with a fire department in Hamilton, Ontario. And on July 4th, late in the night, he answered a call anyways. And when I asked one of the firefighters, why would he do that? They said, that was Sean. And then early on July 5th, our world came crashing down when his wife called and informed him about his death.
On the day they were moving back to Canada. Well, when we had the service back home in Strathroy, and people posed on the obituary site, and Mark had coached with a police officer, and he had known Sean, and he goes, it's one thing to hear that someone's a hero, but it's nice to have known one.
He was more than a son to me. He was my best friend. I miss him.
Here's to you, with that smile on your face. Here's to you, and what I want to raise to this moment we share.